What is up, everybody? So I do have some bad news here. So I did a full trade review. What the fuck just happened? I did a full trade review for the second, which was the first day of this $5,000 challenge to get funded and hopefully hired by S&B Capital. If you haven't watched my New Year's resolution video, watch it so you know what I'm talking about, because the entire next 2 months is going to relate to that, although it is going to be traditional trade reviews. I'm trading on Sim. I'm trading 2 contracts. You can see this is from the 3rd. Obviously a fantastic day. I did literally a trade review for an hour and a half on the 2nd, which you can see it didn't start off so well. And I had no freaking audio. So I did an hour and a half video with no fucking audio. I mean, I had audio, it's just the master output wasn't working. So that's bullshit. So just to give you guys a recap here, well, I mean, I'm not giving you a recap. I mean, I'm not going to redo the video from the 2nd. I will pull out the only winning trade, which got me up to $100, and I'll put that in a short video. But it was this was a stupid trade. This minus 100 was absolutely, there's no point in taking that one. I had performance anxiety, and I started off down to 175, I believe, before I finally came back. I took 10 trades. I capped myself off exactly at 10 trades for the day to prevent myself from overtrading, and I literally was done with the trading day within the first 30 minutes, which kind of sucks because I know there's a bunch of other good setups. But I'm glad I stopped there. Yeah, I'm up, but I'm not happy about any of this. This was a very good move right here. It only won against me 2, went in my favorite 12. This is a fantastic move. But I'm not redoing this video. Sorry. It was an hour and a half. It had so much good shit in it, and I literally, let me pull up. Give me just a second, folks. I literally, updated my playbook. Because of this trading day, I added 5 or 6 playbook trades, even trades I didn't take. Most of them were trades I didn't take. So I kind of updated my playbook. I have to make it simpler. Because there's so many patterns I see a day that I can't do these long deals. If you've seen any of my playbook videos, they're so long for one trade. I had to make it shorter. So this is what it looks like now. These are 2 different trades. This is from that day you just looked at. This is from this day. So this particular, that $275 trade you saw, it was so picture perfect. It's literally, this is the $200 trade. I tagged the date, the time. This is the bottom of the bell curve. This all just needs to make sense to me. My playbook needs to make sense to me, and I realized I had designed my playbook to try to make sense for other people, which in the end is going to take way longer, and I don't have the time to create playbooks and all that. These playbook trades end up backing up and stacking up on top of each other, and I end up not doing my playbook. So this is a way to do the playbook. I just sort of tag shit. This is the bottom of the bell curve. This was almost a textbook bell curve. It says second test of the day at low of near textbook bell curve. It wasn't quite textbook. You can't see it because obviously the DOM cuts it off. Notice the low node being heavily defended, so we have a lot of defense down here. You can see where I went short. I actually got out at 42.50 right here, so it was a solid fucking trade. The best trade of the year so far. High velocity move with no blocks initially test before breach. So you can see here we have quite a bit of velocity testing here, and when I say no blocks, there's no blocks on the tape. There's something new I'm doing with the tape. I'll explain here in the next when I do the actual trade review for the third. The velocity move has no aggressive buying, so this particular move right before this breach, and ultimately it broke down here. I didn't screenshot it, but it kept going. Ultimately, there was no aggressive buying right here once we were here. Notice 118 and 115 in the 150 block on tape. These were used on initial breach. You can't see it. It's hard to see. You're definitely not going to see it. There's a 118 and a 150 right where my mouse cursor is. That was those two block orders were used right when we started breaching. Here's the move extended. This is the same move. This is a trade I didn't take. I should have took it. So trades that I miss in the session, I also put in the playbook because these are my setups and I missed it, and missing it is not okay. So what happened, and I'm basically recapping this good trade. But what happened is the overnight had created these small distribution zones. You can see the small bell curve here, and then there's another one down here. Notice there's 55 right here. That's a low node. So basically, I knew that once we got through the low node, of course it traded up to 683. As you can see, it's gone down further. These are two bell curves, and basically this would be another low node trade. And this is called the distribution zone breakout. This is what this particular playbook is. I'll show you some other ones. This is support flip. This happened on that exact same day as well. So you can see a size of 670 bid sits here. So support flip means this is a trade based off size. My playbook videos are on the resistance flip. This is the same thing, just on the short side. But we get through here, and this support ends up turning into resistance with 333, and then it gets shoved down. And then we have the bell curve reversal. Didn't take this trade. This would have been this would have been the trade of the day, really. Well, actually, it wouldn't have been the trade of the day. It would have been a really good fucking trade. Actually, it could have been the trade of the day. So you see the bell curve. This was the bell curve I was talking about. And these are all from that same day. Right here, this low node, look, we literally bounce off of it, and then we come to test the other side. Not much to be said in this, but having a screenshot does help. And then finally, the top tick turnover. This is the same exact day again. As you can see, we go up by one tick since these last two tests, and then it just drops in. I'd want to capture this little move here. These are plays I want to get good at. These are patterns I notice every day. So this is the playbook, simplified and updated. So let's go ahead and talk about the third. Oops. Let's talk about the third, which is what we're going to review here. A way better day. I started the trading year off a bit rocky, but through a lot of positivity and realizing I did take a fantastic trade that day, that 275, which got me up 100. You got to have a positive mindset about trading. Even when things go wrong, you need to be thankful for what did go right, and you need to be thankful for your learning lessons. And, of course, have a growth mindset. But anyways, we're going to go over these. Again, I capped myself off. My daily report card was to take only 3 trades within the first 30 minutes. because the previous day I had literally taken 10 trades in the first 30 minutes. That's not okay because there's so much more opportunity throughout the trading day that I'm missing. So I'm still capping myself at 10 trades a day. I'm going to do that for the going into this entire next week. I'll be capping myself at 10 trades. So that way it's kind of like having bullets in a gun. I'm like a sniper. I really need to be careful with what I'm trading. And I want to try to hang out the entire trading day and just capture the best of the best trades that make the most sense to me. So this helps me from over trading, which can happen. I think I mentioned in one of my videos I take like 27 trades in a day, and that's not cool, and that's not fun to review because those trade reviews turn into like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and I'm just rushing myself to get through each trade, and just trading that much doesn't make sense unless the opportunities are really there. So again, I capped myself off at exactly 10 trades the next day. However, to prevent myself from taking all 10 trades within the first 30 minutes, I capped it off that I need my daily report card for this particular day was take only 3 trades within the first 30 minutes, no more. I failed that by taking this 4th trade. But it was such a no-brainer of a trade that it just made sense to take it. So I took it because I knew that it was going to work. So I give myself an A- because I took 4 trades. I kind of failed it, but it was a no-brainer. These are all on 2 contracts. The last one was off 3. So again, the other day you saw was on the 2nd was all 2 contracts. So the last trade, these are the 2 days combined. So the last trade was 3. So I'm up at 637.50. I have to make 5K in a month, and once I make 5K, come February, I'm going to take the S&B Futures Desk Challenge, and I got to make 5K for them. So that's a nice cushion to have. I know that I'm going to have to be trading more than 2 to get to that 5K. So for this entire week, the 637 is a nice cushion. It's nice to be up that much. But I'm going to have to trade 3 to 4 to really hit that 5K in a month. So I'm not going to just jump into 3 contracts. I'm going to keep it on 2. And then I'm going to slowly transition into 3 throughout this week. And I have to get to the point where there's a no-brainer trade that I need to throw in 6. 6 can be pretty risky, but I do want to hit that 5K. I'm not trying to hit it incredibly fast, because you need to watch my New Year's resolution video because I go over the rules. But it just makes sense to go scale up quite a bit for the no-brainer trades. Because really, I do want to hit the 5K. If I don't hit the 5K and I only do 4K, I'm going to go ahead and take the challenge anyways. But anyways, let's go ahead and just jump into this. So the longest trade's only 5 minutes. I have 2 cats fighting each other. Hold on. So it's kind of noisy back here. Hey! Hold on. I got to break it up. There's territory discrepancy inside this house. Let's the longest trade is 5 minutes. So these are all very small scalps, basically micro scalps for the entire day, basically. So let's go over the context of what the hell has what the hell happened for this particular day, which was a Friday. Yeah, this is going to be hard to see, but see this price, it's highlighted 320, 32, 28, 25. This is before market open. I'm not sure what time it is, but this is like before market open, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes, 10 minutes before market open. We're trading down here. And these are daytime sessions you're seeing. So these TPOs and profiles, I know they're hard to see, but these don't include the overnight. So we're trading, I don't know, I guess it had to do with some Iranian discrepancy, or some general got shot by a missile from the US. I don't fucking know. Something happened to drop the market down in the overnight. So we're trading down here, and if you were to draw a line, we're trading outside of the previous day's range. So we're trading well below the previous day's range. So what does that tell me? That tells me that when the market opens up, there's a high probability that we're going to come back and test the previous day's range, or come back into it and at least test the low of it. I do notice, I mean, I don't know how often, like, what are the exact probabilities on it, but if an overnight session trades away from the previous day's session, once the market opens up, generally the market will pull back into the previous day's session. And that's exactly what happened. So these first few scalps you see are this gap getting closed. So let's jump into the first trade, which is a long. The first 4 trades are long. It's at 11 seconds. It goes against me 3, goes in my favor 8. Actually, the first 4 trades are pretty much all stringed together. So I'm going to go ahead and let's just do the first one. So it's at 8:30. So literally at market open. So I had marked all my appropriate, and here's the thing, I'm not going to be posting my pre-market my pre-market sessions. I do record them, but I'm not gonna. I said in my New Year's resolution I would post it for you guys. I'm just not. I don't see any value in it. I think the reviews are where the real value is. But if anybody wants to see them, let me know, and maybe I'll start posting them. They're shorter videos. They're generally 15 minutes, and it's me just marking out all the levels on my DOM. But I totally called this shit out, which feeds my ego. This gap closing upward. So this is the overnight point of control, OPOC, overnight point of control. What the fuck is that? Okay, I want to add something here new. This piece of tape is new. This only shows orders 99 and up. It is the same tape as you see down here. Notice there's 100 and a 162. We'll look here, 100, 162. This tape shows orders 20 and up. I don't care about orders underneath 20. But the reason I do that is I want to see the blocks. I want to see all my blocks clustered together, because that kind of helps me. How can I put it? It kind of helps me see where the big buyer, what the big buyers are doing, because obviously on this piece of tape, I mean, all these large blocks will slowly make their way to the bottom and then disappear. As you can see, these 4 blocks, 127, 105, 113, and 100, they're no longer on this piece of tape. It's kind of good to know they're there, but at the same time, they're kind of old, so they don't matter, because they could have been executed at somewhere up here. It's just something I'm trying out. It might not make sense to you, but it's something that kind of helps me and is newer. So I will be pointing at it every now and then. Other than that, let's go ahead and see this long, which is a 1 tick. Whoa, is it really 1 tick? So it goes in my favor 8. It goes against me 3, and for some reason I only take 1 tick off of it. So let's see what happened, actually. So this is going to be right at market open. We're 1 minute before market open here. You can see how thin the market is on the bid ask. This is a 3-year point of control. I have a 3-year composite profile. So in theory, this should act kind of magnetic. Here goes the market opening. Volume flooding in. I'm waiting on this gap to get closed. I'm looking for that drive up. And I'm being pretty smart about my entry. I mean, obviously only take 1 tick out of it. But this is literally, I trade the first fucking minute of the open. Which is, you can see how volatile it is. That can be kind of difficult. So at this point, it's just climbing up. And I know that we're going to go for it. And notice there's a more cluster of blue blocks than red up here. But on this piece of tape, you can only see that 100. So that tells me that bigger buyers are definitely taking this. There's more bigger buyers than sellers currently. And there it goes. It's just blasting off. You can see that the sellers are barely printing back. So I'm like, shit, man, I need to jump in this thing. And I don't have risk picked out on it, which isn't really good. You have to be quick on these types of trades. Holding it, and I'm like, ooh, shit, it's getting right on top of me. Need to get out because I didn't want it to blast through me. Because, again, it's the open. It goes everywhere quite quickly. So that's that trade. Let's do the next trade, which is at 8:31 along. It goes in my favor 7, goes against me 3. So let's do that. So I'm going to just let it pick off from where we just paused it, so there's no fast forwarding, so you can kind of see what happens. So I go long here. You got a lot of size coming in trying to prop the market up. The market's very thin, though. Almost like it's a noose release. That's how thin it is. So I know we're going to go up. Yesterday, you can't see it. You could barely see it. You'll see it up there. I marked the gap level. Here it goes. She's just blasting off. And if you look at the block tape, there's clearly more bigger buyers than there are bigger sellers. And here's the normal tape, 132, 111, 100. You can see up here 132, 111, 100. So this kind of gives me a heads-up display of what the big buyers are doing, or the big sellers, or whoever is trading 100 or more. Especially, it really helps in these highly volatile times because, you know, I may be looking at something else and these blocks will get pushed off this piece of tape and I will have missed them. Really, I need some sort of squawk box or something. Some sort of audio cue would be great to have set up. So that's something I have to do at some point, so I can hear when these blocks come in. So I'm in it right here at the 28.50. Not liking it settling on my price, but it bounces right the fuck off of it. Did I already get out of it? That was a 22-second trade. Let's see when I get out of it. I don't think I take that much off the trade. So I'm still in the trade here. Where do I get out of it? It just collapses back near my price. When do I get out of this? I get out right there at 29.25. Only take what? What is 75 on 2 contracts? It's hard for me to like know because let's see, 75 divided by 2. It's a 3-tick trade. So that was a 3-tick trade. It's amazing how much 2 contracts adds. So the next trade is at 8:31. So I literally am about to take another immediate scalp. Really, I should have been holding this thing longer, but when it's the open and it's high volume, high velocity, thin markets, I tend to do better scalping. I can't really hold in these types of situations because then I end up breaking even a lot, and I end up giving a lot of profits back, and then I end up taking small losses just trying to get in position for a good solid trade. Hopefully, I mean, after years of doing this, I'll get better at that. But currently, my huge strength right now is just take these micro scalps in this kind of condition. So again, we're going to take another 3-ticker. Goes against me 6, goes in my favor 5. 23-second long. And I don't recommend this type of trading for newer people. It's definitely pretty fucking dangerous, but I mean, I knew it was going to close the gap, but I did get, again, I have to micro scalp these things because you never really may not make it to the gap. So now it's collapsing in, which isn't good. I think I was actually freaking out in this trade. It just turned right on that high node, which is great. This really isn't the best trading at all. You can see I'm trying to front run that size. Where the fuck did I get out at? See, this could go horribly wrong quickly. So that's a 3-ticker, so I should be getting out right here at 31 even. Mouse is coming up, placing a limit, and then you can see I'm attempting the Q out there. Get it. Where does it go? Does it fall in from this? Okay, let's go to the next trade, which is at 8:33. I'll let this keep playing out. This is why is it only 37.50? Shouldn't that be? Oh, it looks like I trade 3 on that on accident. I didn't realize that. And it looks like I take 1 tick out of it. Oh, or did I purposely scale up on it? I can't remember. But this one only goes in my favor 3. It goes against me 2. I mean, you can see I left a lot on the table if I'm taking 3 ticks here, but it's so fast and volatile. It's a 6-second trade. But I'll let this play out. So you can see this gap getting closed in. I mean, the thing is, if I would have just held the original one. But I haven't taken many of these plays. I know about them. See, you can see the target in the gap. This is where the low of, what is it? This is basically where the low of the previous day's regular trading hour profile is. So now we're closing this gap very rapidly. So this is why you're seeing this extreme move up, because the overnight session drifted away from yesterday's area. So I'm going to let it play out. You can see it's slowing down. It's sort of building a bell curve in this little area here. And it's bouncing. Look where it's bouncing, kind of right on this high volume edge. And you can see I'm covering 33 even because we're just banging into this area so much. I'm like, you know what? We only got a few ticks to go to get there, to close that gap. Because I at this point, I know, okay, I hit my 3 trades. I need to be done until 9 o'clock, no matter what, because that's the goal I set for myself. Also, my playbook trade was to take profile scalps. Oh, actually, my Friday's report card's still up. 3 trades max for the first 30 minutes. Profile scalps. So what does profile scalps mean? Basically, the first 3 trades were profile scalps. Basically, I take very quick micro scalps. That's what I mean by profile scalps. I should reword that. So I met that objective because I noticed the previous day that I was in the money quite a bit, and I just wasn't getting out because I was so concerned with getting in position for these longer term moves that just never seemed to pan out. And I was just leaving so much money on the table and taking small losses or break evens. So to remedy that, I decided to fix it this next day. So you can see I'm covering the 33 here. I don't know if I go for it. Yeah, and I move up because this 237 is a little concerning, and we come up by 1 tick, and this could be a top tick turnover like you saw in that one playbook. It could come by through here by a tick and collapse in, but I mean, this is a fucking train. So I decided to just go for it, which goes against me too, which you can see there. And there's so much size sitting here. I mean, it's a relatively thin market. It's starting to thicken up a little bit, it seems like. Well, no, that's just big size for a thin market. And I take a 1 tick win off of that because I start to notice the size seems pretty firm, and maybe yesterday's low is gonna be straight up resistance. I'm like, okay, well, we did fill in the gap at this point. This is probably gonna be resistance. So I decide to just get out of it because it's pretty intimidating looking. I know it's going to be a problem to get through here. As you can see, it's bouncing. Let's get into the next. Give me a second here. The next trade is at 855. So that is a, what is that? Is that a 2-tick win? That's a 2-tick win. These are all very small trades, by the way. It just having 2 or 3 contracts on really makes a huge difference, having 2 contracts. So this next trade is a 2-tick win. It goes in my favor 3, and it doesn't even go against me. So this is a pretty good trade. It's only 5 seconds long. This is the shortest trade. And it's a short, kind of blasting through this review. So I'm going to just let it play. Let me rewind that so we can at least watch the order flow bang through this area. Definitely just, I didn't trade the entire day because I hit my 10 trades by 9:51. So look at it just going. It goes through the target zone that I originally marked I marked that target above the pink gap. Well, looks like I'm screenshotting something here. So it goes up to my target zone. That was my target. I don't know why gap is right there, and I don't know why target is right there. That may be where a high node was from that day. So generally the high nodes or high volume edge, whatever it was, I marked that as a target. Let's go ahead and see this trade. 855, where are we? So the market just starts collapsing in. Let's fast forward. Yeah, it gets up in there. Where does it bounce? $36 even. I actually want to see what this looks like. Give me a second here. What is it? What day was it? This is the 3rd, so we're looking at the 2nd. Let me make sure. I gotta double check some things here. Okay. So we basically turn over at 36.50, which is right where this line is. We're looking at this profile. So let me so 36.50, I'll go ahead and move this red line down to it. 36.50. Yeah. So where this red line is, this is where we're bouncing. This is where we turn over right here. I'm just seeing if there's some sort of structure. I mean, it kind of makes sense that it would turn here because then you have this high volume edge at 37 even. So if you look at the profile, notice there's size at 37 even, which is a high volume edge. What was my target? Was 35.50. Why did I make that a target? It's also the previous day over here. This is the top of this profile, which is 35.50. So I realized the top of this profile could act as resistance. So that's exactly why I marked this as target. This is where the top and the bottom of the profile sort of meet from these 2 days here. So let's get into this trade, that $50 winner, which was let's see here, 855. So we got to go in the future by quite a bit. 51, 53. So as you can see, we really come back. Wait. Oh, we come back up in there. Okay, so we do come back up. Right? Yeah. So we do eventually go back up. Yeah, see, here's the gap. Here's the target zone. So we eventually go back up. So let's see this next trade. That's interesting. That 544 sitting at 37 even. Got a low node on the gap. And this is a short. This is the first short of the day. I think I trade this gap. I know it says gap, but it's a low node now, and I know that generally the first time I'm going to... Well, would be, I think, the second time we come through here. I mean, it's just such a low node that this is just a good spot to play in general. You know, you got a bell curve up here. I know it's not perfect, and then you got the next bell curve. So it's like a double distribution type zone. And this gap is just a good play because it's such a low node. It's just, it looks good to me for a play. And look at the blocks on the big block tape. We got a lot of, you got 3 100s that come in. Quite a bit of selling pressure at this point. So I do sit on my hands up until this trade, and at this point I'm real smart about everything. I know that I have to perform. I perform relatively well for this day, but I definitely could have done better. And some of the trades, especially the first micro scalps, are relatively sloppy. But it's a learning curve. That's why I'm doing a month of this before I take the challenge. So you can see I'm sitting here. We got another block of 110 coming in. I'm not gonna go for the trade exactly on this low node. So I want to take the price right below the low node because it could bounce off the low node, and I'm not willing to sit in that kind of heat. So I want to make sure we breach it. I actually need to put this in a playbook, which is at 855. 855 playbook. What is this, the third? 1 3 low node trade. So I need to put that in the playbook because this is a playbook setup for me. And then you got this 130 block as we breach, which is nice. So I'm going for the fill here. I get it. This is a 5-second trade. And I take a 2 ticker. This this larger bid, and the market's still relatively thin for being 855. But anyways, I think it's thin because of that whole general Iran bullshit. Whatever I explained earlier. Definitely need to be more up to date on this crap and how it can affect the markets. But I think a lot of people are kind of out on the sidelines. The market does thicken up later in the day, but this higher node kind of just, I wasn't feeling it. And this kind of looks like a good bounce zone. But it was a quick little scalp, $50, 2 lots, you know. That helps. You know, because I'm up quite a bit off of micro scalps. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, I am up quite a bit off these micro scalps. Give me just a minute. One of my monitors went down. I need to fix it. Mic check 1 2. There we go. Okay. So, I mean, off of micro scalps. Why did it go back down again? Hold on. I think one of my power cords for this monitor is bad because it keeps cutting off, and that's not good. Yeah, but anyways, what I was saying is these micro scalps really add up, and I know that. And I don't like taking them, but I'm good at it. Like, depending on the market conditions, if I try to take these longer term moves, I just get burnt. And you can see that in the previous day, like if we go back to the second. Look, negative 50. This went in my favor 6. I mean, it won against me 9, but this particular trade went in my favor so many times. This one only 3, this only 3, this only 2, this one 3. These two didn't go in my favor at all. But this one I should have. I mean, this one doesn't went in my favor 3. This goes in my favor 4. Just, you know. Yeah, the market, with the condition the market's trading in this particular review, it's just micro scalps work for me. I don't recommend it for everybody. But I don't know. It just has always worked well for me, and why do something that doesn't work for me? You know what I mean? Why fuck it up? Yeah, I want to take more longer term trades, and I'm getting better at it. So we're gonna go into the first break even at 9:02. It's 28 seconds. It's a short. It goes against me 8, and it goes in my favor 1. So this will be interesting to see what the fuck happened here. So we need to go to what time? We need to go to, oh wait, it's at 9:02. Okay. Notice the floor fell out. I don't know what happened there. Oh, it happened exactly at 9 o'clock. Let's see if there was a piece of news at 9. We need to go to the previous. Need to go back to monthly. I don't know what the hell's going on here. I want to definitely do January 2nd. How do I get... I don't know how to go back on this thing. It won't let me do it. Ah, shit, whatever. I tried. So this is at 9:02. Okay, so anyways, we basically, that low node trade isn't as valid. Anyways, this low node's not really as valid anymore. As you can see, we breach it and then come back down. So what's going to happen is, this happens quite often, is you'll have that low node, and it's generally valid for the first time, but once you get through that low node, you're going to start bouncing between if there's two distribution zones. So let me reword what I'm saying. So if you have two profiles, two bell curves, and they meet up with a low node, generally you're going to bounce off the point of control between the two profiles. I know it's hard to see, but you kind of have the two bell curves right here and right here, and then that low node was right here. It's that low node play we saw in that last trade where I made $50. That trade is generally good one time, 1 to 2 times maybe. But once you get through it, it's going to start bouncing between the point of controls generally, and then this area starts to fill in, and then this becomes one giant bell curve. That doesn't always happen, but that's what I notice. So let's see what happens here, because this is really a very terrible trade, seeing how it goes against me 8. All right, so I'm not sure what I'm thinking on this particular trade. I mean, there's support here. This kind of looks like it could be a support flip. And then also I see this a lot where you have these 2-pointed controls, and then you have this weird, it looks like a half pipe almost. Still trying to get a read on it. Yeah, that's a support flip right there. So we go through this. So that's a playbook trade. We go through this, and then what was support immediately turns into resistance. That's a good support flip, isn't it? Nope, we come back into it, but it's still... Ooh, it was a support flip, and you could only get a little bit out of it, and then that size disappeared when we came back up. Interesting. So it came through it by a little bit. Okay, but that's still a support flip. So I need to actually tag this. At what time is it? 9:01. Because that's going to have to go in the playbook. 9:01 playbook. On the 3rd. This is the support flip. So you got the 266 sitting here. The size was sitting here for a little bit. And watch. So right as soon as we breach it, this 33 even size will come in right here. So 241. So you see the size coming in. Buyers are trying to hold it up. Then that size pulls and then comes down. Now it's at 262, 257. That's called the support flip, and it only works the support flip, and then I have the other trade, the resistant flip. They only work. They're trades that are based off size. So you have to. These are the types of trades you need to see size on the DOM, and you need to see the size pull. You need to see the size sitting there. We breach it, and then you need to see size immediately close it off. And it works out relatively well that you could get a few ticks out of it. Sometimes they keep going. You just never know on these deals. It's so violent, though. It's so volatile that literally if I was to have taken that, I would have only took a few ticks off of it. And they're not always like this. Sometimes they don't come back in. So, I mean, it's just a pattern I notice. Here, we're at the low of this particular bell curve. And we look, notice we come in through this is kind of a top tick reversal, actually. We come in, look, check it out. So we, I mean, yeah, we're trading lower. Oh, and I go short there. So we breach by 1 tick where we tested here, and then it pulls back up about a point or so. And we're at the bottom of a bell curve, so that kind of looks like a playbook play. Actually, it is, because this is the... You can see I'm in the trade. This trade goes against me 8. What? So let's watch the entry. And generally, I'm starting to notice these support and resistant flips. They happen um, they happen on these particular spots on the bell curve. I mean, it's kind of like the lower third of the bell curve is where I notice these support and resistant flip trades I have. That's kind of where they happen. Like, for instance, notice where the size is on the bell curve. So if I was to show you guys, give me just a second here. So we did this support flip. See, notice the size. Here's the bell curve. Notice it happens not at the bottom of the bell curve, but more so away from the point of control, kind of like in the lower third of this bell curve. If we were to cut the bell curve up in the thirds. Same thing with what's happening here. And I think I have a trade review where you see the same thing happen. So what am I looking for on this? Why do I go short here? So it comes in by one tick, and generally you would expect it to reverse, but we don't have size up here anymore. So the support flip's kind of out of the question. Like, it was there for a little bit, now that size is gone, which isn't good. But then again, actually this size is on the VPOC. But the way this profile's set up, it's kind of odd and different. You'll see these curves, but then they like have two point of controls that are very distinguished, and between them it kind of sinks in a little bit. It almost looks like a suspension bridge, sort of like the Brooklyn Bridge. How you have the two towers here. So I think I'm going to name it that when the profile looks like that. We'll call it the Brooklyn Bridge. So I go short here because Why? Why do I go short here? Looking at this, it makes no sense to take the short there. I mean, there's quite a bit of selling on the tape. A lot of large red blocks. That's the beauty about trade reviews. You see things where you're like, why did I do that? So we do have this low node here. The slower node, I think I'm looking to play this, and I think it's because we're breaking out of this distribution zone and we're going to go into another one. Yeah, so I play the low. And I actually, when I took that trade, I'm like, shit, I wish I would have waited and taken it at 31 even. I remember this now. Yeah. So it's kind of trading error, and I knew it before I went into it. I'm like, shit, I kind of wish I didn't take that. I wish I would have waited. And now I don't like this size of 373 sitting here because I know we're going to probably go through it. It is holding. You can see it. My mouse was sort of covering it. Yep, and it gets immediately taken out. Like, it pulls off. It cancels. It doesn't even get filled. So all that size just gets out of the way. So that's, in general, that's a bad sign. That could be a spoof. I think that's a spoof. I think that's my like actual first spoof that I've gotten on camera that I can share with you guys. It did, the size briefly came in there. You probably didn't see that. So it was there, it pulled off. Look, it's at 163. Just watch right here. It's 240, so they bounce it down. 186, so some of it does get filled. I don't know if that's a spoof or not. Either way, it's some sort of trickery, it looks like, because it did pull off. So that's where it goes against me. 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. So this is sort of a top tick turnover. That's exactly what happens here. Let me I want to tag this. So this is at 9:03. Playbook. Top tick turnover. It's a playbook trade. All right. So, I mean, it's not textbook, but it's there. And it's at the low of a bell curve. Really, I would have taken this trade. I don't know. That's kind of not the best. I'm just sort of studying this. It's not really the most ideal looking setup. I mean, it doesn't go, what I'd want out of it isn't there. This is a break even. I'm out of it? 28 seconds? Yeah, I'm out of it. So let's just go ahead and just watch the actual trade. All right, here we go. We'll just watch this go. Well, I mean, look at the VPOC kind of holds it right there. You can see. Yeah, so this, if I'm going to tag this in the playbook. This is a top tick turnover. And, I mean, actually, what I'd want out of it is there. I'd want to get out at the VPOC. So, notice that size is coming back in, though, at the 344. So you can see where it comes on, off, on. We blast through it, and then it's coming back on. So clearly somebody has intentions of defending 32, but they keep like getting out of the way. So that's interesting. And just look at all that red on the tape. And then you just had a cluster of the 133, 153, 153 come in. That's all one guy, actually. Let's watch that come in. So let's watch the tape here. So I go short. Uh, 123, 127, 133. I'm watching the tape down here because we've already seen this play like 3 or 4 times now. So I'm watching the tape. Go up into the VPOC, come back down. There you go. And in the midst of that move, they slam. It looks like somebody's lifting the bid. This is all one trader right here, and they're basically clearing out the bids. So they wanted to take out 3 levels, and that's exactly what they did. So that's one trader. There's a button called lift the bid or lift the ask if you have enough size in your account, or you can push enough size. And basically, if I was to hit the lift the bid button, it would automatically trade 71 contracts here and then take the bid down, or drop the bid, I should say, lift the ask. If I was to lift the ask and I hit the lift the ask button, it would market order me a bunch of buy orders and take out that 59 immediately. And that's how many contracts I would be in. So somebody aggressively, one trader aggressively took out 3 levels, it looks like. Because look how, watch how it, so we're going to watch it again. See how it just zipped down very violently? So I break even there. I'm like, ooh, I'm not feeling this. Theoretically, I should have stayed in it. I just kind of got spooked. The next trade. This is minus 25 goes against me. 2 goes in my favor. 1. It's 15 seconds. It's a short. And it's at 9:13, so we need to go in the future. Yeah, we're bouncing off these levels. Yeah. So 30 even is really holding relatively well. So we need to go to 9:13. So now we're back on the other side of the profile. And I go, what, short? Yeah. Theoretically, this looks like a top tick turnover. See how we come up by 1 tick compared to where we last tested it? It might not be, though, because it's kind of pausing. Now that size is coming back in, acting as support, and we're having a sort of a pinch between 201 and 247 here. So size is sort of pinching it. So I decided to go short, and the reason I go short is because it looks like a top tick turnover. Look at all that size coming in to squeeze it down. So notice it's getting real thick here on the ask. But I'm just not liking it because that size starts disappearing, and I noticed that on the heat map. So I'm trying to work my way out of it. I take a 1 tick loss because it's $25. I keep forgetting it's 2 contracts. Let's see what happens, though. Does this actually fall in? Yeah, it definitely gets juked right there by a lot. You see that? So really it was a valid play. But the market just kind of told me this might not work out. So, yeah, look at all that size that came in. All these blocks just clustered, just jammed it down. So again, that could be somebody dropping the bid, and they hit it like 4 times the button. But I don't know. So could have been a good play. How much further does it drop in? That was it, so it does go back up. But still, it's a good scalp. So I'm going to tag it. What time? 9:13. So 9:13, Playbook. On the 3rd, top tick turnover. So we're going to tag that because I need to study these heat maps. What's the next trade? Next trade's a break even. This one goes in my favor and against me too. It's 29 seconds. It's a long. At 9:27. And as you can see, this damn market's all over the place. What happened up there? That dramatic drop. Look at that thing. Definitely a trickier day to play. That's for sure. Definitely not what you normally see. So this is where the play is going to be. What is it, a long? Yeah, it's a long. Oh, shit. Let me go back. Let me cut it. Didn't mean to do that. All right. Look at that dramatic drop off right there. What am I looking for here? What the hell am I looking for? I really don't see a good play here. I don't know why I would take this. I mean, I'm wanting to take it. I can see that, but why? Oh. Looks like because there's size here, and we got rejected back here. It's 37 even. You can see the size was on and off, and this area just in general is definitely a sort of a line in the sand type area. Where do I take the trade at? Right there. I'm might be taking trades based off the footprint chart, which you can't see. That just didn't seem like a good trade at all. That's why I'm review these things. Yeah, it doesn't look good, so I just get out of it. I wasn't liking that back and forth low volume type stuff right there. Yeah, but it turned out to be a good play, huh? Do I go for this? No, I don't. Where does it go? It seems to get real choppy and nuts right there. So the next trade is at 936. Give me just a moment here. This is a big one, 150. It goes against me, 9 goes in my favor, 8. It's long. It's the longest trade. It's 5 minutes and 59 seconds. I think this is a footprint chart trade, actually. Which footprint charts I just got up and running and have only traded with it 2 days. I love the footprint chart. You'll see it if you don't know what that is. So 150 divided by 2 is 75. So it's a 6-tick win. It's amazing what 2 contracts can do to your P&L, that's for sure. So let's see what happens here. It really goes against me, doesn't it? So this is, I took the break even somewhere over here. As you can see, it's sort of, this is what I like to call a wind up. So you can see that it has this dramatic move and then it's starting to slowly tighten up. And this is sort of a bell curve. This is sort of going to be the point of control. And also the footprint chart comes into play on here. Not sure if I show it. I don't think so. Should be jumping in it here. So we've attacked this high area several times. And I have a 5-minute footprint. Let me show it. Let me see if I can't find it. I'm not going to go back that many days. Oh, shit. It's up. My bad. Didn't realize the footprint was up. So this is a footprint chart. All it is the market orders you see in here. Let me make sure everything, there we go. So the market orders you see in here, I'm constantly clearing them out for my entries, but I still want to know where these market orders are, and using them on a footprint chart really helps. And these are 5-minute candles, basically. I'll do a more in-depth video for beginners on footprint and why it's so important. But let's see here. So I noticed that right up here, we tested this area like 2 times, and there was a lot of absorption, and the sellers were just absorbing these very aggressive buy orders, and we weren't getting through here. But I noticed that as we kept testing up here, the absorption and the amount of contracts that were trading up here on the footprint were becoming less and less. So I'm like, and the way the whole pattern was set up, it's kind of like this Elliott wave pattern, but it's not. It's my own thing that I can't clearly describe. I would need something better to show you. It's this weird zigzag move I see happen with the profile every fucking day. It happens on big scale and small scale. And I'm seeing this sort of movement playing out on this 5-minute footprint chart. And I noticed that the absorption and the amount of orders that are happening near here are weaker and less. And the fact that we're coming back up here, it just makes sense we're going to breach this higher area right here by at least a little bit. You can see there's quite a bit of size sitting up there. It's not the best explanation, but this is why I take so much heat in this trade. Ideally, I didn't want to take that kind of heat, and I buy a top tick, actually. So notice that we tested twice right here, and then we go by 1 tick, and then it immediately starts going down. So this is sort of a top tick turnover. I just have years and years of these habits of taking breakouts when really I need to be taking more of these top tick turnovers. Yeah, see, this would have been a fantastic top tick turnover. I actually need to tag this. See how I bought the top tick? Or right below the top tick? This would have been a perfect fade. This is more of an ideal one. This is a good one too. So what time is it on here? 9:37. Whatever. I know I didn't put in the periods. Playbook. 1/3. 1/3, as in it's the third. Top tick turn over. I got 3 of them on here, huh? And it's going against me. 9. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, at this point, I'm starting to fucking freak out and be like, God damn it, all that hard work is gone. I should never done that. Yeah, it's just like these breakout trades are tricky. I think taking breakouts over a top tick turnover is a little... I think top tick turnovers are a little easier. Like fading seems to be a little easier than taking breakouts. I just like... For me to really nail a good breakout... Although that one $275 trade from the previous day to this on the second, that's a breakout. So that's a good one. Again, I'm going to put just that trade from that day in a video. And that's the only trade that saved me on the second anyways. That was the only trade worth a shit. Yeah, that would have been a good top tick turnover. And it makes sense. So this pattern, just give me just a second here. I want to show you what I'm talking about. All right. So here's the bell curve, right? Okay. Here's your low node. Your other low node's kind of up there, but this isn't perfect. So we'll go ahead and draw this right here. So what happens? This move happens all the time. It happens when you have a bell curve. It can happen on a smaller scale within the bell curve. So what happens is anytime you test one extreme of the bell curve, there's a high probability it's going to go to the other extreme of the bell curve. So as you can see, we test sort of, it's not quite the extreme, but we have this dramatic move down. This is sort of an auctioning process. It is an auction, but you have this move down, right? And then this side gets rejected. And it doesn't always go to the other side like this. It could go to the point of control and bounce back down. And it could test even further and get rejected and come back in and then go to the other side. Or it could... Again, it could come back to the point of control and then come through and break out. It's never perfect, but generally you can definitely take plays off of it. It's a pattern that happens, but the way the pattern sets up isn't always the same, but the pattern is always the same, if that makes sense. So this type of pattern you're seeing happens all the time, but will it bounce off the point of control, or will it breach it? Will it test a slightly lower low, or will it test a slightly higher high, and then we'll have a top tick turnover? You just kind of have to really play it by ear and see how it trades at the point of control on these edges. So you'll have this move where it tests the extreme and it goes to the extreme, the other extreme of the bell curve. We come back in, and then what do? The move starts to fizzle out, and theoretically this is the point of control, I would say. Yeah, it is actually. This is where the most volume's traded at this particular bell curve. So now we're kind of tightening up on the bell curve, and then we come through. So theoretically, this right here is the bounce off the point of control. Yeah, you're going to chop through it sometimes. And then we come through, and then we go through. We test this high by one tick. It immediately turns over, comes through again. Sometimes it can go all the way to the other side, and then it could break out. Or it can come down here, start bouncing a little bit, then break out. Or it can bounce a little bit and then come back up. You really have to see what's happening once it gets to that level, because you really can't predict that far in the future. But this pattern happens on larger scales as well. And if you look back here with these dramatic moves, it's sort of happening over a larger scale as well back here. But it's probably not the best explanation. But it definitely makes sense that this top tick turnover happened right here. But anytime you test one extreme of the profile and you notice it's getting rejected, it's going to go to the other side. Depending on how big the point of control is, though, it could, so, you know, we test one extreme, we go to the other extreme, and then we come back, and sometimes you really chop on the point of control, and then you go and test the other side. It's this weird wave pattern that happens, and again, it's never perfect, but it's sort of predictable. Oops. So let's get rid of this. So I'm sitting in this trade. I think we're going to fast forward it. But I know overall, even though this happened on me, that I should have faded it, because I could have taken about $300 if I would have, you know, if I would have played the breakout, which I do. You know, I made 150, but also, you know, in my favor, it went against me 9. If I would have played this top tick turnover as well on top of the breakover, I would have, should have, right? It doesn't matter. This is why I tag missed opportunities that are my playbook trades. So we'll go ahead and fast forward this. Oh, let's go back. So there you go. What do I get out? It's a 941. I get out of this at 942. So theoretically, that top tick turnover screwed me, but I started to regain confidence when I saw how it was sort of trading right in here and holding. But that was a really good top tick turnover. That's how I usually want them. Now they're pinching it. You can see the size is coming in. That kind of made me nervous there. And I didn't have predefined risk on most of these trades, which isn't good. But if it's a higher velocity market, I kind of have to just play it by the momentum. There we go. So this is good. We're breaching through here. It's starting to get rejected off this 419. That kind of came out of nowhere. Well, we came in through with a lot of velocity. Let's see what is going on the tape as we breach through here. So the last block is 124. Let's see what kind of buying we see right here. But this up move is so unexpected. I didn't expect it to move like that. But I'm glad I was still in it. But at the same time, man, that top tick turnover. Yep, right there. You can see the 209, 105, and 179. So there's clearly an aggressive buyer who was throwing in quite a... This is one buyer, too. This is a very large buyer just wanting to get out of this area and start to test up in these lower noted areas. So it's starting to get rejected. It's absorbing right there. I'm like, shit, I need to get out of this. I just want to be out of it. I'm holding my target firm. So I decided to take the next tick down with the way it was back ticking. I just wanted to get out of it at that point. I think we breached through this actually a lot more. No? Let's see what happens. Oh, yeah, it's pretty sloppy in there. Oh, yeah, the move's given up. Yeah, it's real choppy in there. I think at this point we go back in. Yeah, so, I mean, the exit was pretty good for what it was. What's the high? 40.75. I mean, he very well could have ripped through there. What do I get out at? 40.75. I get out at... Yeah, I get out like a point under. You're not going to get that top tick. Final trade. Another 150, but this is on 3 contracts, so instead of 6 ticks, it's it's 4 ticks instead of 6 ticks. Same amount of money, but it's on 3 at 950. It's a 49-second trade, which is pretty nice for a point. It goes against me 4, goes my favor 5. Let's go ahead and give me a second. Okay. So you can see that this is where I took that trade and got out. There's the top tick turnover. We're coming back in, and notice this size that's come in right here. It seems like it's disappearing, but there's some size sitting right at 35 even. And I mean, clearly sellers are taking it at this point. And notice we have blocks. We have, not blocks, we have large orders coming in and shoving the market down right here. And my size is gone at 35 even. And this is where that low node was in one of the earlier trades. So we're crossing this area again. I'm trying to see why I take this. Like, you got that 433. This looks like a pull push type move. Yeah, so this is where that low node was. I decide I'm going to take a play off of it, I believe. I just want to see how it interacts in this zone. There's going to be a little bit of turbulence with some back and forth. You can see a buy block came in on the tape. So I need to see something else. Now you got to buy or sell on the block on the tape. Now this is it. See how we kind of breach it. Yeah, you would think, oh, is this going to be a top tick turnover? Not really, because we've crossed this low node threshold and we're going into the other distribution zone. So I decided to go for it. And I'm front running this slightly larger size of 351, which kind of sticks out on the bids. And it's also above where this size was also sitting here for a while, so of course I'm front running it. Really stalling there. We have a 185 block on the tape. Slam it in, and all of a sudden 340's coming in, so it's sort of like a support flip right here. But it backs off. You have a 147 block come in. So clearly buyers and sellers are really duking it out. So now I'm trying to bail for a break even, but I decide to cancel off because, I don't know. It's just the momentum. I don't know. Why do I cancel off there? Actually, you know what it is? I decide I'm going to take risk at 36 even. That's exactly what it is. Because it's a higher volume edge, so I realize that in theory this should hold. Hold on, my monitors went down. That's not good. I gotta figure that out. Hopefully the audio didn't get cut out there. Okay, cool. So again, I decide to not break even. I decide to pick risk. I realize I hadn't been picking risk, and I want to pick my risk zone. So it's going to be 36 even, just because it's a higher volume edge. And even though we've traded through it relatively easy, it should act as somewhat of a support or resistant area on this pullback. We have a 154 on the tape come in. Boom, look at that. All we got a 100, a 107, 175, and a 133 on the block. So that's good. Sellers really want it. I get my target on it. I think it falls in further. I shut the computer off, though. Yeah, I shut the computer off. I hit 10 trades. I'm like, shit, I'm done for the day. I actually had to go to work this day, so I needed to be done around this time so I could review. Yep, that's it. So that's that. Up 537.50. Could have been better, obviously. We got all these playbooks, a lot I missed or it went against me. So if you account both days, I'm up 637.50. It's not loading. It just lags. There it goes. So that's nice for 2 days. We'll see what this week has to bring. Hope you enjoyed it.